Hi.
I would love for our community to get to know who Georges Lammam is a little bit better.
As probably a lot of them know, I was born in Lebanon from a Palestinian father and Greek mother. My father was movie producer, late 40s, early 50s in Egypt. And my mother was a singer. I guess you know all my brothers are musicians. I used to go with my mother to the studio when she records in Beirut. And she was recording as a chorale with a famous singer and full orchestra. And she told me, when you go to the studio and you see the red light, don't even breathe. So I took it literally, actually. I hold my breath, and then I start hearing all this music, like 20 violins playing together. And this is, I think, where I really loved the sound of the violin, and I wanted to be a musician from that moment.
Oh, wow. That jumped ahead to one of my other questions because I was so curious how you came to the violin.
Well, in Lebanon, we didn't have much opportunity. We moved through the civil war in Lebanon. My parents moved to Dubai, and we went to local schools there, and there I have a music program in the school. So I started with my brother Elias, God bless his soul, playing accordion, because that's the only instrument was available at the school at that time. And then the teacher was so amazing. He really cared about his students. And he said, you know, you've been playing accordion for 6 months here in the school. How about finding another instrument? He said, what do you think about this? And he brought his violin and played for me. And I remembered what I saw in Lebanon. And then this next day I bought, kind of cheap violin, and then I started taking lessons.
That's fantastic. So you grew up with, how many children were in your family?
3 brothers and 2 sisters.
So was it expected that you would be a musician, or is it just something that happened accidentally?
Oh no, I knew I want to be a musician the moment I start actually playing the violin or learning how to play the violin, because the violin never left my arms.
So your parents were both in show business. Was that helpful in becoming a musician?
Absolutely, very supportive. And going back to my father and his days in Egypt, he knew so many artists. I can name a few you probably know yourself.
I think you told me one time that he worked with...
still have the pictures with me at this picture from the early 50s in front of the conservatory of Egyptian conservatory with Abdul Halim Hafiz. He was kind of like becoming famous. Composers like Kamal Tawil, Balik Hamdi. The head of the conservatory in Lebanon came, that was 78, when he came to Dubai, tried to open a conservatory in Dubai. So he came and stayed there for a week. He was in my house every day, and also he was teaching me. He said, bring your violin up, and he had actually made books called Studies in Arabic Music, violin and Arabic music. So he has books, number 1, number 2, and 3. I still have those books with me, and actually I'm teaching from those books now what he taught me.
So while you were living in Dubai, what kind of things were you up to?
There's not much really to do. It's just the music and going to school. But from learning at school music at school, they have a children program on Dubai's TV. I was going actually, the teachers bringing their students, their kind of like top students to perform at that. So I remember when I played Fairuz's song, Nassam Alan al-Hawa, was the first song I played, and it was in that children program, and then I played it as a solo by myself. And the next day, I went to school, and everybody looked at me differently at school. And that TV show, a musician who was a violinist, who actually were looking for musicians to start the National Orchestra. And he came actually to talk to my father. I said, I wanted to really to adopt your kids, me and my brother Elias, and then I want them to be in the orchestra. And then he became so good friend with my parents. And for 2 years, I actually was with the orchestra. I learned a lot, because you learn also the Khaliji style, which is not easy from where I grew up. And so I get kind of a lot of experience with that. And start working with him as a second violin in the nightclubs. And all the nightclubs there is like 5-star hotels. After a few years, I decided to do my own band. I don't want to be independent now. So I created a band where we were around 8 musicians. We worked 7 nights a week, 7 nights a week, and sometimes 8 because we do like a show on Friday, early Friday for afternoon. And I called my band the Golden Stars Band. So yeah, and we worked with so many famous singers came, and so many famous dancers came from all over.
How old were you when you started working in the clubs?
18, yeah.
Wink, wink, right? 18.
Yeah, so started very early. And of course, working in the clubs, and you gain a lot of experience, but just working with different singers, different dancers, different musicians. So, I mean, yes, you learn a lot with your teachers, but then as a performer, you learn a lot by performing live with different artists.
In the pressure cooker of performing live,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.